emotional addictions. I feel that this is a really life-changing concept for myself, and I feel that it's something that when I became aware of it and really grasped it and understood it, it really, it shifted my life a lot. It allowed me to make different choices. It allowed me to see why I was doing the things that I was doing. And it's something that it's kind of like a journey. It's like a path of discovery. So emotions themselves, for every emotion that the body produces, there's simultaneously a chemical release that happens in the body with every emotion. And what happens is that our body can become addicted to these chemicals that get released into the body. And subconsciously, we can begin creating realities and subconsciously making choices that will ultimately lead to the production of that chemical being released. So something that I see a lot of, and I myself experience in my own life, is that people, myself included, have a tendency not to really like drama, like the chaos, the chaotic situation. There's uncertainties, the unknownness, anything that produces that kind of anxiety feeling going on. I have not met one person who says, I love drama. I really thrive on drama. Now, I know lots of people who will point their finger at other people and say that they thrive on drama, but I've never known anybody who says that they really like that for themselves. So if we don't like it, but yet I believe we create our realities, then why would we continue to create a reality that involves drama? And that was kind of like the little thing that got my attention to get me looking more at emotional addictions and how strong of a hold they can have on our lives, especially when we're unaware of them. So what I have found to be true is that most likely what happens is that it's not so much the drama, the actual playing out and the anxiety part that we are addicted to or like. It's really what happens subconsciously and what happens inside of us. Because we don't realize that whenever that situation, that chaos appears, that there's a little drip that's happening into our body, releasing a chemical that our body is actually looking for. Subconsciously, this all happens kind of under the surface. And when I stopped saying, well, I don't like drama, so I know I'm not choosing this, to taking ownership and responsibility and saying, okay, well, if it's showing up in the world around me, it must be trying to tell me something within me. And I'll be the first person to tell you that I don't like a lot of drama and a lot of chaos. However, if I'm going to own this belief system that I create my reality, then, and the things around me subconsciously are going to lead to back up my belief system, and I'm the creator, I have control over that, then why would I be choosing this situation over and over again? Consciously, I wouldn't. However, it keeps showing up. So I just kind of took a step back and said, okay, I'm just going to pretend as if. I'm going to pretend as if what I believe is the truth, and I'm going to pretend as if that I do create my reality, and I'm going to pretend that what's showing up outside of me is a reflection of what's going on within me. And when I started just supposing what if this is true, a lot of things started to shift, and I could see things a lot differently. And I could see how sometimes it would be hours, days, or weeks, but I would make choices that eventually would lead back to some kind of chaos over and over and over again. And what I thought I was doing was creating situations to avoid that from happening. But in my avoidance of making it happen, it was bringing it right to me. And a lot of times, the path that we take to avoid a situation will lead us straight to it, if not every time. So when I started looking at things this way, everything, again, really started to shift for me. And now I can see how someone's choices and the actions that they make throughout the day are being a lot of times driven by something that's behind the scenes. So 90% of our choices throughout the day, y'all have heard me say this a bazillion times, 90% of our choices are made by our subconscious mind. So 90% of our choices are made by our subconscious mind. We kind of just go through life on autopilot. And the biggest thing that I noticed was for myself, okay, if I'm actually just subconsciously feeding an addiction, then I started looking at myself like an addict. And I started treating myself like an addict. And I started realizing if I can't stop in the moment and choose a response that's going to best serve me, and all that I do is have default reactions left and right to everything that comes up and that I'm confronted with throughout a day, if I can't stop in that moment and make another choice, what is it that's driving me to do that? What is stopping me from being able to stop and make that choice? And for myself, I don't like things to control me. I don't like people, places, or events to control me. And when I realized that there was something that was controlling me, I wanted to put a stop to it. I wanted to regain control. I wanted to take back over control consciously of what was happening in my life. And it was very interesting to me how I could see how when certain stimulus come into the picture, the way that somebody speaks to me or confronted with a situation, or even as simple as trying to make it somewhere by a certain time and getting stopped at a red light, or, there's basic little things, anything that made me go, I would stop and I would look at and say, first of all, how can I choose a different emotion in this moment to maintain my peace of mind? But also, what could I do in the future to prevent this situation from occurring again? I'm somebody who runs chronically late. I've set it forth the intention for this year, 2011, to be my year that I show up on time for myself. I've always kind of run chronically late. And I can see how this could be a learned behavior. My parents are usually late. They're usually the last ones to show up to stuff. So I can see how this could kind of be a learned behavior, but I can also now see how it's been another subconscious way for me to create drama in my life, for me to get that little fix, that little adrenaline rush. And so now I see it differently. Instead of, oh, well, that's just me, I just run late. Now I see it as I'm feeding an addiction that I no longer want to have. Therefore, I'm more determined to show up early. Because when I show up early, I'm actually really relaxed. I'm at ease, I'm kind of peaceful, I feel good because I'm early. If other people are late, I don't care. But if I'm early, then there's just like this little peaceful time. I've got a few minutes, I can kick back, I can relax, I can take it easy. And as lovely as that is, apparently, it was not what I was addicted to. It was the other chaotic drama, the little stress, the anxiety, the looking at the clock, oh my gosh, I've got 5 minutes and I'm 7 minutes away, I'm not going to make it on time. That little anxiousness, I don't know if anybody else experiences that, but that little anxiousness that would come over me, I realized it was another way for my body to produce that chemical, and it was just feeding my addiction. So now everything that I look at in my life, or that comes up in my life, anything that sparks that kind of uneasiness within me, or it doesn't go exactly how I would choose, like in alignment with my preferences, I kind of take a step back and I say, what's really going on here? And I see things happen in a lot of different ways. And one of the number one things that I see, and I'm going to challenge all of you, if anybody who's listening to this or participating today, if you don't think that you're addicted to your emotions, I challenge you to stop doing what you're doing and make different choices. And a lot of times for myself, I felt very justified in the choices that I was making, so I didn't feel the need to stop it. I don't care what you're saying about emotional addictions. I felt pretty justified in what I'm doing, and I can give you all the reasons why I made this choice. And anybody who I list all the reasons to, they're going to back me up and understand where I'm coming from, because we're all doing the same thing. But when I realized that I couldn't stop in the moment and make a different choice, and I'd have those kind of default reactions to things, when somebody said something and I took it the wrong way, instead of stopping and thinking about what they could have possibly meant, just jumping to the conclusion to defend myself,